I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I do want to talk about Goodland and just the
Okay.
transition from you living there to
Oh my
here.
God.
So, just from when you first knew you were going to be an exchange student, uh, and you heard you were going to Goodland, Kansas, what did you know? What did you think?
Oh my God, Jeremy, you need to hear the story. So I was a 17-year-old high schooler who actually took the exam, yet got the scholarship. And it has told me that I will go to the United States. I'm like, yes, this is a dream come true. So I'm watching all the American Dream movies. I'm like one of the girls who actually like, they have this, what do you call them? Cheerleaders. So I'm like, I'm gonna be a cheerleader. I'm gonna be the popular girl in the school and everything. And they told me that I am going to somewhere called Goodland. So I searched for Goodland, and it says it's in Florida. So I packed for Florida. I put all of my nicest bikinis and every single of my skirts and everything. I did like 2 suitcases for Florida. And
Oh
then like
no.
3 days before I actually went to Goodland, got on a plane, I looked at the mail and it says Goodland, comma, KS. And I'm like, I wasn't so familiar back then, like what KS is, what NY is, anything. And I'm like, Goodland, comma, KS. So I typed Goodland, comma, KS this time. And it says it's a town in Kansas. So I am Dorothy in here. And every single thing about Kansas, they talk about how nothing is in Kansas. Like, you can't find this in Kansas. You can't do this in Kansas. You can find anything in Kansas. You can't live in Kansas. And I'm like, I'm a freaking 17-year-old teenage girl who wants to live in an American dream, and you're sending me to Kansas? And I actually got an got an exam and got a really good score, and you're giving me my scholarship to Kansas, which all of my friends went to New York and I don't know, like Miami. And I'm like, Kansas girl. Okay. So I looked up and it says cowgirl. I watched Western movies because I thought I didn't have any vision. I didn't have any, like, any information about anything. Anyways, so I unpacked and I packed for Kansas and I told my family I took the test and I told you that I am going to United States. So if it's Kansas, I'm going to Kansas. But I was so down. I was so disappointed. Anyway, so it was a Sunday morning when I first arrived, and I only heard bells from the church, and no one was in the streets. And Google said that Goodland, Kansas had only 4,000 people, which Istanbul had like 50 million back then. And I'm like, 4,000 is like in my neighborhood.
Oh,
What am I going to do? Like, it's, I didn't know what to do.
wow.
And then it taught me that being happy doesn't have anything um, with a place. It doesn't have anything with population, how popular it is, how technology is so much over there, how many people they live in the city or anything. It taught me, and a very, I think 17 was an early age for that. It taught me that you can actually find a family
Mm.
in a country that you didn't ever, like, haven't ever gone before, and they they are actually your family, and the town, they can actually welcome you. And the thing is, every single person of my friends who took the AFS exam going to United States, they all had families. And in Kansas, I I I read that they're all conservative,
Mm.
and they hated, I don't know, Muslims. They hated Turkish people, and they actually mixed them. They thought that we actually, I don't know, like go with camels, and I had to wear a burqa and anything. So that's because they don't want me. And I'm like, so I'm going to the United States, and it's so far from my home, and I'm gonna live there for, like, I don't know, years. and I don't have a family. So where am I going to
Wow.
stay? And I'm going to Kansas. And it turns out that it's because of the paperwork. My family loved me since day one, and they actually treated me as one of their own. And they never forced me to call them mom and dad, and which I didn't at first. But then, do you remember I got really sick? I didn't come to school like a couple weeks. I actually got really sick, and um, they they were my mom and dad. You know, like my Wendy was my mom because I don't know, she didn't sleep. She was like looking at me if I was breathing, if I was okay. And my dad also, like they were so kind and one day actually we got in a fight with my mom. Wendy, I mean my mom.
Hmm.
Anyway, and I was a teenager. I told you. And I said, and she always says that I am quite like her and Elizabeth. Do you remember Elizabeth, my sister?
Of course.
Elizabeth is like my father, and William's something in the middle. And William was like 2.5 years old back then. I slept like probably 5 nights out of 7 with him by like reading him. It was like I gave him a birth. I don't know, like he was my own child kind of love. And anything, anyway, I got in a fight with my mom, and not in a disrespectful way, both of us. But I told her, okay, then, if you don't want me, then I will leave. I will change families, you know. And Elizabeth and Dad, they're like so nervous. They're like, so kind and so even, and we're like so passionate with mom. I'm sorry. And she's like, okay, young lady, you know what you will do? You will go back to your room and you will stay there and you will think because you are the family and you're not leaving anywhere. I am mad at you, but it doesn't mean that we're not family. So you go back to your room and think about it. And I'm like, oh my God, this lady loves me so freaking much. So she didn't actually want me to go. She was just angry at me. And those two things actually made me feel like home. And I had my room decorated. One day I came home, it was like decorated because they loved me and they cared for what I liked. So they decorated it how I liked it. Or like, I don't know, we had chores divided to us. It was a fair house. I wasn't an exchange student in the house. Or I don't know, I didn't know anything about being a homecoming queen. I didn't have a clue.
I
Back
forgot
then,
you were the
do you,
homecoming
do,
queen. Yeah.
do you remember? Do you remember? It was like I was in this stadium and they called the first attendant and then they called the second attendant. So the first attendant was the first one, so she was the queen. The second attendant was the second one, so she's the silver one, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So I was the bronze one, the third one. So I'm like, I'm still happy, and I don't know what's going on. I'm like, oh my God, Brand. Oh, rest in peace, Brandy, by the way.
Mm.
Oh my God, Brandy and Ashley, and everyone is looking at me like, Bashak, you were the queen, and I'm like, I am the queen, me, queen, me, Bashak, the queen. How am I? But she was the first. No. And then Kevin looks at me, she's like, you dumb, you're the queen. I'm like, they're like giving me the crown and everything, and I'm like looking at it. And I went back to home. They're like celebrating it. It was a big party. It was a big thing over there. I didn't have a clue. I called my mom in Turkey to tell her that I am the homecoming queen. She's like, "Oh my God, congratulations! I'll talk to you later, okay?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, but mom, this is a very big okay." She didn't get it. So she didn't get it because in a cultural way we don't have something like this. So I don't know, like you guys welcome to me. You are a good friend, always sarcastic, always giving me a hard time, but you are a good friend. And people are really nice. The community, it was a really good one also. So it made me understand that you actually feel loved somewhere, and that's your home. So anywhere can be your home if you're surrounded with the people you love and to be loved.
Hmm.
So I guess um, in in time, Goodland wasn't so different than here. You know what I mean? Well, at first it was so different, but then I forgot how I was living in here. I forgot my culture, by the way. I forgot everything. I actually read Quran with Bible because the thing is, I didn't read any of the books. It's like we're Muslim, but I didn't have a clue. I didn't know how to read in Arabic. I didn't know how to read Quran. I didn't know any religious books. But then I realized if I want to believe or not, I should do it by after I read it. And I feel so ashamed. I felt so ashamed because people over there, my father, my family, they knew some Turkish words. They knew some Turkish meals. They had Quran. They read it because they needed to understand the part of my culture. And I felt so ashamed because I didn't read it by the age of 17, because it's not a common thing. It wasn't a common thing surrounding me. So I started reading it, and then I get an understanding of religions also. So it actually helped me understand about my own culture also.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a great answer. And it has to just be a crazy experience from, like you said, not understanding where you're going and even having some preconceived notions, which, you know, there are reasons for those, but then you also meet just the people. And like you say, it's not so different. And that's when like all that stuff falls away and, you know, you're just talking to somebody, you're just connecting with somebody, or you're in track, or you're this. And it's just like, that's really cool. That's really cool to hear from your perspective. Is there anything that you like picked up in Goodland that you still do to this day, or anything like that?
I drink milk. I drink milk with my meals. And everybody in here, they're looking at me like I'm a bizarre person. Like I am I don't know, alien coming from another universe. I'm like, well, we do drink milk and Goodland with meals because my family did and I loved it. And what I do is, I don't know, like there are a couple of things that I actually picked because I remember mom telling me that I came different, you know, like I picked up some habits. I learned a lot about living with a toddler. I realized that I'm a child person. Like I love kids and I am a good caregiver, you know. So I started with my mom over there. We did big sisters and big brothers, big brothers and big sisters. Do you remember that? Yeah. We have a similar one in here, so I volunteer over there, and I started studying about kids. So William actually made me understand that I have a part that is a natural mother. You know, I didn't know back then.